beauties, welcome back. I hope that you've all had a really good week. So this week we're going quite mystical, hence why I put my moon on, my feminine energy. We're going quite mystical and we're going to look into, do they feel the connection with you? Okay, do they feel the spiritual connection that you guys share? Sorry, my guys just changed those decks around. Okay, so this is deck number 1 and this is deck number 2. Now think about you, think about your person, go from where your heart chakra is pulling you. Number 1, number 2, do they feel the spiritual connection that you two share? Ooh. Okay, so as always, it's going to work on the strongest mutual energy between you all. You know how this works by now. So if anything doesn't resonate, just remember it for a later date, or it's possible that you're not part of the strongest mutual energy that everyone else is. Do they feel the spiritual connection? Okay, so we're just going into all you lot's energy. And let's think about your person for me. Can we get into the collective energy of the people, their people? It's lovely. And let's get into everybody's thoughts, feelings, energy, emotions, their thought processes, and all possibilities, probabilities, choices, chances, changes, and the full essence of this spiritual connection between the two of them. It feels very floaty. Some of you need to ground yourselves. If you're grounding, basically, with more spiritual connections and spiritual things and psychics and things like that, what happens is our souls often like to take a potter. We like to go for a wander. That's what we do. So sometimes you can feel a little bit floaty and a little bit lightheaded, or if I'm reading for you, you go, oh my god, my head is pounding. It's because you're not grounded. So what you need to do with that, if you just imagine your root chakra, the bottom of your spine, if you just see like a black cord going right down into the center of the earth, push it right into the core circle of the earth, and just put 2 hooks on it and hook it into the earth. That will help. Okay, or if you want to do it easier, just get a tourmaline or hematite bracelet, crystal, necklace, something along those lines. It's just because it's a strong spiritual connection, that's why. So do their people feel the spiritual connection that they have? How many do you want? 7 today. 4, 5, 6, and 1 more. 7. Okay, so the first thing is that they do. They absolutely do. Okay, they can feel the connection between the two of you. Over here, you've got the moon and you've got the sun, which is the sun is masculine, moon is feminine, and you have your merging pot at the bottom, which is kind of on fire, so it could be a twin flame relationship. The cauldron with the essence of your connection and the two of you coming up, so they absolutely do feel the connection. And with the castle at the top, this is your spiritual team looking after you, supporting you, and the lion for strength. Okay, so yes, overall they do feel the connection between the two of you. They know that it's not a regular connection. They know it's like nothing they've experienced before in their life, and it frightens them. To a certain extent, it frightens them. They feel that they're very in tune with you. They feel that they can communicate with you even though you're not there. And also, Spirit is saying, I've just had a clairvoyant image of, it's for all of you, it's not a specific message for one of you, but I've had an image of someone in the car driving and talking and shouting at you lot watching as if they're there. Now that can happen with a lot of spiritual connections. So if you're finding yourself at home and you start mouthing or talking to them as if they're there, it's because it is that spiritual connection and you are in tune with them. So yes, they can absolutely overall feel it. Now with that, they get overwhelmed with it. They get overwhelmed with the emotions. They get overwhelmed with trying to find peace and contentment with the situation, and feeling like they're kind of swimming in this big water and not sure how to deal with the emotional side of it. So they know that there is a connection between the two of you. They're scared about spiritual stuff because a lot of them aren't spiritual. They're open-minded. Most people watching are open-minded. You do have a few more that are more tapped in, tuned in, turned on, but the majority of you watching, your people are open-minded, and they can sometimes feel that with the connection with you, they get swamped with these emotions because they don't know how to handle the connection, and this can scare them a little bit. They also see that you're in your power. They see that you know a lot more about this than they do. And that kind of worries them a little bit as well, because they're thinking, well, what do you lot know? What do you know that I don't? Do you see the future? Do you see where this is going to go? Do you know what's actually going to happen? What is it that I'm not kind of getting? And to a sense, they envy you in that, because they're a little bit frightened of advancing their spiritual abilities or gifts, because they're scared of it. A lot of them have had visions, spirit saying visions, maybe as such when they were younger, say one of their relatives passed away. They have these visions of that person passing, standing at the end of the bed or coming to them in their dreams, and they know there is more to it, but they just get a bit frightened about it, because to them it's all ghosties and ghouls and it's not all love and light, you know. They don't see that side of it, whereas they know that you've got more going on with this situation and you understand it from a greater depth than they probably ever will do. So that worries them a little bit. You also communicate in dreams. They've started having really, really vivid dreams, a lot of vivid colours, a lot of symbology going on in these dreams. Numbers are appearing in a couple of people's dreams as well, but the symbology more so and the colours is appearing in your person's dreams. And with you coming into them as well, they can really, really sense that this is something which is just not your run-of-the-mill connection, because they've never really had dreams where the colours have been so vivid and it's been like real life, and they've, you know, there has been a dream where they can physically feel you, you know, they felt you physically, not one specifically out of your people have actually physically felt you in their dreams, and so they know that as well. The other side of it over here, this is where this kind of block is coming forward, is that they're a little bit unwilling to accept this connection as it is at the moment, the spiritual side of it. They can accept the connection, but not necessarily the spiritual side of it. So there is a block with that. They are trying to have this period, they are going through a period of transformation, and through that period of transformation, that's making them feel a little bit vulnerable, and with vulnerability they're not going to want to step into the spiritual side of things just yet. So there is this kind of block which is making headway with them at the moment. But with the rainbow at the top, this indicates the rainbow bridge, which I don't know if you guys know, but they always say from our world to the next, it's met by a rainbow bridge. It's a metaphor. So the rainbow bridge is there, so again it indicates that it's a spiritual connection. They're a little bit frightened of death. They're a little bit frightened about what happens when they die, okay? And they would like to believe that there is more out there when they do pass over, but some of them are just, you know, they need the evidence of it to believe it when they see it, you know. They don't necessarily believe in mediums, they don't believe that we can communicate with those that have passed. They haven't quite got their head around that yet, because again it goes back to ghosties, ghoulies, Halloween, freak out. So they know that there is more out there. They keep open-minded to it. They're not in full allowance of it at the moment, and it's just because they are a little bit scared. But again, they can see that the two of you have got a strong connection, that there is unconditional love between the two of you. They do feel there's a little bit of snakes in the water here, and the snakes can be seen as this female goddess kind of coming in, very kind of strong feminine energy, a snake. And I know a lot of you go, oh my god, I don't like snakes. I love snakes. I love the way that they can move without having a backbone. I just love them. And they're a very, very strong symbol of feminine energy. And you'll say, oh, they're cunning and they're this and they're that. Yes, you can portray them in that way, but it's the way you want to portray them. And with this, the snakes can stand for a little bit deception. The deception that's coming up here will be a deception in the fact that they're not ready to acknowledge this to the extent that it is the spiritual connection. But also very strong feminine energy kind of coming forward. But again, they have this fear and concern that everything, once they die, there's nothing else after it. And when they think about that and they have to admit that, or think that they have to admit that, they get freaked out. So then they start thinking, well, maybe it isn't a spiritual connection. Maybe all of this is in my head, because there's clearly no afterlife. There's clearly no multi-dimensions. So, yeah, okay, we've got a strong connection, but what if there's nothing afterwards? And so they kind of let the earthly logic dictate over the top of this spiritual connection. It's just because they're freaked out. They just freak out over it, bless their little hearts. But they can tell that it is a strong connection. They can tell that there is definitely something more going on here than meets the eye. Overwhelmed with emotions. No, it is an intense connection. The sexual energy between the two of you is really strong. as well, knowing that you know more than meets the eye, having very vivid dreams about you, having a bit of a block up because they're frightened, and the main reason why they're frightened is because they don't know what happens next. Part of your people as well don't want to acknowledge what's going to happen next in their lives. You know, they're not naturally born with a psychic. They will have gifts and abilities, but they're not willing to accept it and acknowledge it. You know, up until, I don't know if you guys know this, but up until the age of 5, everyone can see things, can feel things, can sense things up until the age of 5. And then at the age of 5, you decide, or you've already pre-decided before you came down to earth, whether this was something that you wanted to carry on seeing, or whether this was something that you really never wanted anything to do with. And this is why when kids up to about the age of 5 will tend to have imaginary friends, and then past the age of 5 it kind of stops. Me, I've always had it. Since I was born, I would see my little baby brother who's died. I saw him pottering around the house, saw dogs running up and down everywhere. I saw everything, heard things. I've always been clairaudient, always had people talking to me. But your person, whilst you will have versions of this yourself, you'll have your own stories to tell. Your person has experienced stuff when someone that they love has passed away, but up until that point they haven't really had that experience to say, oh, this definitely exists. So they can sense a connection, but they have that fear-based energy of whether this is actually real or if it's all in their head. But they can definitely feel that this is not your run-of-the-mill relationship, and especially because you're in the dreams. So yes, they can feel that it is a very strong spiritual connection between the two of you. That's deck number 1. Okay, let me do deck number 2. I need a sip of coffee. I'm working super hard all day. Coffee has to keep me going. And someone said to me, what's two things you couldn't live without? Coffee and eyeliner. Oh, and my dog. My dog, obviously, but earthly things, coffee and eyeliner. Okay, deck number 2. So, as always, it works on the strongest mutual energy between the two of you. So all of you lot and all of your people, going into all your energies, all your people's energies, and pulling out the strongest mutual energy between you all. Think about your person. Can we get into their person's thoughts, feelings, energy, emotions, and thought processes? And let's really get into the essence of the connection that the two of you have together. Oh, you're going to have to do that all individually. I just had how clairaudience tends to work. Sometimes I hear people, left ear, right ear, I hear different people within each ear, and then I have like a radio. It's like a radio frequency, and sometimes they flip the channels really quickly. So, you know, that static in between, you can hear 3 songs all in one go, which is a bit confusing, I know, but I can hear 3 songs in one go. So I got that Hold On For One More Day by, I always say Marie Phillips, I don't remember if it's her. Someday somebody's going to make you want to turn around and say goodbye. Till then, baby, you're going to let them hold you down and make you cry. Then I also got In the Arms of the Angels. And then what was the last one? I don't know why we've got this one, but Take That, Rewind It Back, da-da-da-da-da-da, make your booty go... Not quite sure why we got that last one, but I'm going to throw it at you because I'm sure it'll make sense to one of you specifically watching. Can you tell me, does their person know about the spiritual connection between the two of them? Do they know about the connection? Can they feel this spiritual connection that they have? How many do you want on this step? You want 7, 3, 4, 5, oh that is 7, 6, 7. Okay, so it feels as if the majority of you, your person has either backed away, walked away, stepped away from where you are at this moment in time. So a lot of you guys watching will be in no contact, and if you're not in no contact, you'll be a little bit hot, a little bit cold, a little bit here, a little bit there. So your person is reflecting on this situation at the moment. They feel to have walked away. Now, whether they are still in your life and they've metaphorically walked away, that is the reason why that is happening, is because they are processing everything at this moment in time. They are trying to keep grounded with your relationship. Now, on the start of deck number 1, there was a need for grounding. Now your person in deck number 2 is definitely grounding themselves to try and keep level-headed and stable about this connection between the two of you. They can feel that there is more going on than meets the eye, and they can feel that they are almost believers in fate, your people, and they can see that your paths keep entwining, your paths keep coming back together, and they don't really know why. They don't know why they can't break this connection with you, because with other people, they've been able to get rid of them in the nicest way possible, get rid of them, stop thinking about them, job done, it's all good, I've completely forgot about it, I've moved on. But they can't do that with you. They can see, yeah, look at this. I don't know if you can see this. Don't freak out by this deck, because the people haven't got eyes. When I first got this, it really scared me, but actually I really love this deck now. It's a beautiful deck, but they haven't got eyes. I was thinking of sticking little bobbly eyes on them. Your person, and over here, there is this shadow of you. Okay? So they can feel, again, that there is a connection. They know there is more here, but they're trying to keep grounded on it. They can communicate with you, they can sense you, they pick up on your mood, but they don't know that is what's happening. And to be fair, you guys can be a bit crap at that. You pick up on them. Make sure that you return to sender. If you're suddenly hit with anxiety or depression or feeling really low, just say return to sender 3 times, because you're a sponge, you pick up on each other, and you can be hit by this bombardment of emotions the majority of time. 98% of the time, as empaths, the energy that we pick up is not our own. So please make sure that you say return to sender 3 times. It's not going to do anything negative. It just sends it back in the direction it came. And it doesn't have to be this person. It could be everyone. It could be Betty, who you met at the food shop yesterday. So they can sense you, you can sense them. They can see that there is a potential for this to be unraveling in the right direction, but they're just keeping grounded at the moment. So they might have walked away from the situation. Now, if you are in this distance, they are still thinking about you. You are still picking up on each other, and I just had a clairvoyant image of dominoes toppling over. So what's happening is the top domino is gone and all the other dominoes are kind of falling into place. The dominoes are going down the pile, okay? They're having this initial thought, and this initial thought is letting these dominoes roll. So in a sense, they're having a bit of a wake-up call. They're going through a couple of dark nights of the soul. They're having a period of rest from it all, period of rest from the situation with you. And again, like I said, they're going through some dark nights of the soul. A lot of stuff that's happened in their past is coming up to haunt them at this moment in time. And they're really processing it and analysing it and thinking it through, to try and, they're releasing, they're purging past situations. And whilst they're purging, they also need this space from you. So don't take it to heart, try not to take it to heart in a way. They're just purging stuff that has happened in their past, trying to release it so that they can move things forward. Okay, so they're picking up that as well. They can see that the two of you could be very happy together with one another. They can see that come summer things might be in a very different position, but at the moment they're still holding on to a lot of crap. So they can sense that there is a connection between the two of you, but they're still holding on to stuff that's happened in their past, still holding on to kind of current situations equally, and trying to make head and tail of it. So whereas they can sense that there is a spiritual connection with you, at this moment in time they've gone off to deal with things in their own way, to purge these past energies, which means that when you guys do come back together or come towards a closer standpoint, that they're going to be in a better headspace and they'll understand things a little bit more. You are still going to pick up on each other, like I said. You will still pick up on each other in this period of downtime that you guys are having. You will pick up on each other, and they're just having this period of purging and releasing. And whilst they're purging and releasing, they're not realising that they're picking up on the spiritual connection between the two of you. They're just moving forward, trying to move forward in their life, feeling quite low, feeling quite down, not really an allowance that the situation is moving forward yet. But so they're not focusing on the connection the two of you have, but it is shifting. You know, they can sense something is there, but because they're purging, they're shifting that energy, so that you two have got a chance of things moving back in the right direction. You guys are also having a few dark nights of the soul, my guide is saying as well. So once this period of purging is over, they're going to get back on their sailing ship, more in charge of their emotions, come back towards you. It's going to be quite quick movement. They are going to communicate with you. He's wearing the same necklace as me. How weird is that? You see? Wearing the same necklace. The hearts and the female energy is going to be in their throat chakra, so they're going to get ready to communicate with you. They are keeping grounded with it at the moment. They aren't fully accepting an allowance of your connection at the moment because they're purging this energy. They're trying to sort their own shit out, but they do know that there is something more to this, but they just haven't quite worked it out because they want to keep grounded, they want to keep level-headed with it all. And that is exactly what they are planning on doing while they have this purge, while they have this downtime from you, focusing on themselves. You guys are purging as well, but once these periods of purging are over, you get your spiritual connection is going to enhance. Spirit also talking about Kundalini is rising within your person, so a lot of you, your Kundalini will be rising as well, which will come forward quite sexual energy, but it's actually just your chakras aligning. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go Google Kundalini energy. When you get those massive shivers kind of coming down your spine, a lot of the time that can be Kundalini. It can also be spirit stepping into your energy, or when you've got something accurate, if you're a psychic, you're like, oh, I got that right. You get these shivers. I call them electric shocks, spiritual electric shocks. It's Kundalini. A lot of the time it's Kundalini. So your people's Kundalini is rising, even though they have no idea what that actually means. They will also start looking at things a little. They're not going to go and Google twin flames or spiritual connections, but they might start Googling something like Buddhism, or nice places to walk, or how to feel better in the dark nights, you know, stuff like that. They'll start opening up in a sense, not fully awakened to you or your connection with them, but they will start opening up in a sense. So yeah, they can sense it, but they're keeping grounded on it because they don't understand it, and they might not ever, but they will sense that there is a connection between the two of you, a strong connection, but they just don't really know why. So yeah, that's it really. Okay, so that's step number 2. So if you want me, just drop me an email. I'll put all the details in the description for you. Email's mysticlovetarot@gmail.com. You can find me website. I do half-hour single questions. I also do past life readings. I do mentoring if you need mentoring, or you want mentoring with mediumship, tarot, etc, etc. Clairaudience, yada yada yada. Just give me a shout, and I will speak to you all soon. Have a really good week, my beauties. Lots of love. Take care. Bye.